to the Narendra Argus, your first appearance, I believe. The Murdoch Telegraph, on the other hand, has been with us from the beginning.
A glass petition.
Simon Benson gets the credit for that. Not, it seems, that means much. At the Metropolitan Dailies, we're earnestly told capricious sub-editors attribute stories to reporters on an entirely arbitrary basis. But more of that later if I have time. On to the Herald Sun and a reference to a terrorist attack
that killed 26 people, dead.
We got it the first time. And yet another Murdoch howler, this from the Courier Mail.
A Missouri judge is expected to sentence him to death by lethal objection.
I've had cases like that. Chris Mitchell's Courier Mail also runs a column by one of the dowagers of feminism, Dale Spender. How, we ask, did she think she could get away with this nonsense about conscription during the Vietnam War? Spender says she was teaching at a Canberra high school in those days.
Teaching at the time could cause great anguish. There was terrible tension the day the birthday ballots were announced. Then came the awful sensation when it became clear which 17-year-olds...
17-year-olds? They conscripted 17-year-olds for Vietnam?
When it became clear which 17-year-olds were to have their lives so desperately disrupted.
It's a total fiction. It was 20-year-olds who were in the ballots, and there were surely no 20-year-olds at any Canberra high school. But quite unashamed, Spender embroiders what might otherwise have been a fault in her recollection.
Lessons would stop. Students would burst into tears. Teachers struggled to counsel and calm classes and to console parents.
And here's the best bit.
I can remember thinking, this couldn't be happening in Australia.
It wasn't. What an astounding thing for her to write. We're not at all surprised that the Courier Mail would publish it, though, coming as it does in the same genre as the Manning Clark nonsense and the choice of Helen Darville as a columnist. For the moment, I shan't call Dale Spender a liar, but I would like to see her explanation. The Sydney Morning Herald standards, though nowhere near as bad as those of Murdoch's Brisbane paper, are nonetheless a cause of concern. As an instance, Saturday's story about an Englishwoman's successful appeal which will enable her
to become pregnant using her dead husband's sperm.
Didn't really need this particular photograph to illustrate it, surely? And it's hard to see where the paper's heading with such a down-market promotion as
Spin Burjo's Wheel.
Lucky Sydney Morning Herald readers are being given the chance to win over $35,000 in cash and prizes.
On a chocolate wheel segment on 2CH, Radio for Geriatrics. Seems a funny demographic and incongruous pitch. Meanwhile, nobody's looking at the copy, and hence, Murray Hogarth got away with
the canaries in the coal mine of our total environment are squawking.
Canaries trill, they don't squawk, but worse still, Hogarth thinks this is a word.
Demasculate.
Perhaps he means to reverse a vasectomy. Very poor form in this editorial.
The Prime Minister has showed good sense.
Nobody reading it first, you see, nor these. Vita Palestrant wrote that
a tumble dryer wreaks havoc on the electricity bill.
Stephanie Wrathel and Malcolm Brown jointly produced this about a teacher
preying on successive generations of students.
That's the trouble with church schools. But as the Fairfax Herald, we're really worried about, not schools. On Saturdays, they run a piece in Spectrum called Datelines about celebrities' lives. This weekend, it was Marsha Hines who
spoke to Ali Gripper.
But the one about Harry M. Miller was, sadly, anonymous.
A life revealed through its most significant years.
This week, Harry M. Miller, agent and theatrical producer, 1951.
I worked for a few months as a lift boy and baggage handler at the Station Hotel in Auckland.
1962.
I moved to Sydney.
1966.
I presented the Rolling Stones' first tour.
And there's an entry for
1978.
And another for
1988.
But a yawning chasm between those years. One can well understand Miller wanting to gloss it over, but surely the Herald can't condone a review of the
most significant years
of their subject's life without some reference to 1982 and 1983.
My life in prison.
Harry M. Miller recounts his reactions to life in jail.
Even a quick look through the Herald's own files would have turned up Evan Whitten's piece.
Harry M. confirms rumour. Life in jail is not nice.
Rehabilitation good, suppression of facts bad. And things are still not right at the ABC. Or is this the harbinger of take away the money and this is what you'll get, things to come? Let me start with the ABC's own system for prevention of commercial compromise, the corporation's editorial policies, and a few relevant extracts.
The head of television must reject any proposal where he or she is not satisfied that the ABC's independence and integrity are fully protected.
No definitions of independence or integrity, but everyone knows what those words mean.
Commercial publicity for individuals, organisations or products should not be given.
I should think not.
And the presentation of identifiable brand products or services should be avoided.
On the matter of program credits, that is the on-screen acknowledgements,
Neither the program itself nor the credits may contain any form of advertisement or commercial logo.
and you'll remember problems like the Hitachi Sydney to Hobart race, the Foster's Melbourne Cup, and the Winfield Cup.
Names will be used as seldom as possible.
OK, they're the rules. No brand names, no product credits, no commercial logos, no product publicity, no compromise of the ABC's independence or integrity. And here's how it works in practice.
And he's about to expose himself to his biggest ever challenge, Super League.
Super League. See it first on ABC.
Super League is a News Corporation product. It has its own logo. Any publicity for it is to the commercial advantage of Rupert Murdoch. So what about that ABC promo? It breached all 4 editorial policies we quoted. Logo, excessive use of the name, an identifiable product, it wasn't rugby league but Super League, and it was pure commercial publicity. Murdoch's product even insinuated itself into an ABC ident. Fortunately, as Thursday's Telegraph reported, ABC viewers are more vigilant than ABC management.
ABC senior management has ordered the removal of all Super League logos from its television coverage of Super League matches this season, following complaints from viewers.
It wasn't just the promotions. A week ago, ABC TV ran a preview of the Super League season, presented by Debbie Spillane.
Welcome to the opening of an important chapter in Australian sport.
The graphics all featured the logo, the interview captions too, and artfully arranged in the background, the Murdoch merchandise. The ABC presenter's script couldn't have been more promotional had it been written by a Super League public relations apparatchik, and it was.
Stay tuned. The vision is about to become clearer.
Debbie Spillane is a Super League flack, notwithstanding the ABC blazer she's wearing.
Canterbury Bulldogs.
Media officer Debbie Spillane.
In one of the many Murdoch papers' many puff pieces for his new enterprise, ABC TV's head of sport, Jerry O'Leary, was thrilled about the Super League relationship.
Our reach is fantastic, and this will allow an enormously popular sport to reach a large and diverse audience.
And not just the sport, Ms. O'Leary. The product, the merchandise, the lot. Since then, Ms. O'Leary has left the ABC and joined Fox, of which Peter Frilingos, a News Corporation man to his core, wrote on Friday,
Companies like News Limited, Foxtel and so on are involved in the game purely for the profit motive.
what exactly is the ABC doing? Steve Mascord explained in the Herald TV guide,
The ABC will introduce and outro the games with its own staff, but otherwise the national network will take Foxtel's coverage. That's outsourcing for you.
just like the Whitlam lecture, free of charge. It isn't going to work, is it? But wait, there's more. On ABC Radio, to which the same anti-commercial policies apply, or do they? For instance, Radio National's Science Show, presided over by Robin Williams, a man close to canonisation. He's just completed the presentation of a 4-part series on why people should keep dogs and cats. Oh, they didn't admit that was the subject, but it was. Written and narrated by a publicist for something called the Pet Care Information and Advisory Service, which it seems fair to say is nothing more than a front for the multinational pet food manufacturer Mars through its Australian subsidiary Uncle Ben's.
Funding is provided by Uncle Ben's of Australia.
Uncle Ben's makes Pal, Meaty Bites, Whiskers, Dine, My Dog, Goodo, Kitty Cat and Chum, amongst others. They've cornered 65% of the prepared pet food market in this country. And through their Pet Care Information and Advisory Service front, they pay the wages of a vet called Jonica Newby. Here she is doing a Sub-Rosa TV commercial for Uncle Ben's.
No matter what type of person you are or what type of lifestyle you have, there's a dog that's perfect for you. And remember, a dog is a friend for life.
And here she is in Women's Weekly writing about pet care. On the page opposite, an advert for an Uncle Ben's product. And again, and again. And here's her intro from Robin Williams.
Today, the start of a 4-part science show series written and presented by Dr. Jonica Newby, who's a vet from Melbourne.
What he should have said is that she works in the pet food promotion business. No, I'm wrong. She shouldn't have been on the ABC at all. It's a crudely subtle pitch. Jonica Newby didn't tell us to buy Pal in so many words, but to keep pets. Then we have to buy food for them, don't we?
Being a multicultural society means being multi-species as well.
Oh, and more such arrant tosh, highly insulting to her audience's intelligence. Urban planners feel Uncle Ben's lash for not encouraging greater consumption of meaty bites. Again, the whistle was blown by listeners, vets who don't share Jonica Newby's loyalty.
Why were the listeners not told that the author and presenter of the programs works for the Pet Care Information and Advisory Service, a division of the Mars Group of companies?
The science show's executive producer, Amanda Armstrong, replied that they knew all along.
Dr. Newby is a consultant to the Pet Care Information and Advisory Service.
But that,
The series has nothing to do with Dr. Newby's consultancy to pet care.
and anyway,
Listeners are told in Program 4 that Dr. Newby works as a consultant to pet care.
but not told until the whistle was blown, not told the correct name, not told what PIAS is, and not told who funds it.
Animal Friends was written and presented by Dr. Jonica Newby, who's a vet, a consultant to Pet Care Advisory Services.
So, and I'm sorry to say there are further problems with Commerce and ABC Radio, but I've run out of time. That perhaps and false bylines will have to wait until next week. Good night to you.
Join us at the National Press Club this week with Professor Noam Chomsky, recorded on his last Australian visit, Wednesday afternoon at 1 o'clock on ABC.